Hi, welcome to Theater Crafts, where we take theater memorabilia and we make brand new treasures. Now, I don't know about you, but sometimes you have opening or closing night. You might have a beverage that comes in a glass bottle, or maybe you have some sort of, I don't know, maybe an olive oil. Maybe you had like a cast party and you had pasta and you had an olive oil. Well, you can take that bottle and you can create it into this gorgeous bottle with etched images. I'm going to show you how to etch these images onto the bottle. Add some lights, add a ribbon, and if you notice here, these are beads that I made in a previous video. But wouldn't it be cool if you had the bottle from a cast gathering and the beads that were made from the poster of the show? What a great way to remember this theatrical event for you. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do these today. So let's get crafting. So let's get started. Here we are at the workbench, and I'm just going to go over the things you need for this project. So obviously you're going to need your bottle. This bottle and the one that I used in the example, I really liked because they're straight up and down, and so it makes it a little bit easier to adhere the sticker sheets to. I'm going to tell you the hardest part of this whole project was getting the adhesive residue off of the bottle. If you struggle with that, what I found is I put vegetable oil on an old toothbrush, and I scrubbed it, and then I put dishwashing liquid over that and then scrubbed that again. I had to do that process maybe 6 times, and it finally was able to get the residue off. You can see I actually washed this bottle out, so there's some water drops inside, but so that's how I was able to get it off. If you struggle, vinegar is another thing, or something with acetone would be good, like a nail polish remover, that sort of thing. So your bottle is one thing. You're going to need, this is the Armor Etch, and so this is a glass etching cream, and with this you're going to want to use gloves because obviously it will eat through glass in 5 minutes, so you can imagine what it will do to your skin. So you want to be really, really careful with this. I use a brush so that I can put that on. And for the, these are the lights for inside the bottle. If you remember, here's the bottle here for the example. So the lights, and I got these off of Amazon, honestly, but they are readily available. You can find these in a lot of craft stores. So basically it's a cork top, and it's a wired light, and you can just turn them on by this is the thing has to come out, but you can turn it on and off. So this one you can turn, you can see I just turned it off, but there's a switch, you can turn them on and off. So that's really easy. And then you need your beads, obviously. So on the example you can see these beads here. These were made from posters from a show. You can certainly do that, and I have a video that I'll show you, that I will link down below, that shows you how I made those, and I have some extras here, so I'm going to use some of the beads that I made previously from this is from sheet music, and that's what I'm going to use on this next one. You also need a needle. I also am using this is a threader, if you can see that. It helps to get I'm using jewelry like string, thread here for putting through the beads, and sometimes the holes in the beads are rather small, so you can see that they're rather small, so it helps to have that, so I will be using that as well. I had for this I used 2 different colors of just thin ribbon. I just think it looks really pretty, and so I have some here. And then you need to think about how you're going to put your design on the glass. So looking at this, can you see the stars here? And when the lights are low, you can really see the stars much clearer on the bottle. So I put stars using my Cricut. So I cut them out using my Cricut, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But you don't have to. If you don't have a Cricut, there are other ways that you can decorate it. You could use readily available stickers, and you can just put those on the bottle if you'd like, or even something like this. This would be the opposite effect. You could put these stickers on and then put the armor etch around them, and you would have the star would be the plain glass, and around it would be the frosted glass. So it would be reverse what we're doing, but that certainly would work too. You need to have something to really adhere the sticker onto the bottle, and I used this weeding tool and obviously my stickers that I'm going to use here. I used a towel too. I'm going to be honest. It was easier for me to work on the bottle if I put a towel down. And I also found that getting the lights inside the bottle was tricky. So I just used a chopstick in this case. It's kind of a funky chopstick that I had at home. Something to be able to get that down into the bottle. So those are your materials. All right, so let's get started. Now, as in the example, I'm using the vinyl from Cricut. So I'm actually going to cut the excess off here. If you can see, so you can see a little bit, I'm just going to cut this off so that it's a little bit easier to work with. Okay. Now, I know it's a little hard for you to see. I don't know if I can get it so that there are stars cut out here. And what we're going to do is we're going to do kind of a reverse weeding technique. Normally you would take and you would get the background off, but in this particular case, we want the background on because that's what we're going to do for the design. So I don't know if you can see, I can see this, and I'm taking these and I'm just going to take my weeding tool and just get those stars off. So I have removed all of the stars, and now I can take this off of the mat. It's easier to do this on the mat so that you can not have it from moving about. Now, I just want to point out the type of vinyl that I used is removable vinyl, and that's really important because if you have the permanent vinyl, you're not going to get it off of your bottle. So it's really important that you have the removable vinyl. All right, so now we have to figure out how to get this onto our bottle. So I'm going to kind of cut it down just to make it easier to work with. And let's see. So I found that on the last one, I had a little bit of difficulty with the placement of the stars. So I found that there were a couple of instances where when I was cutting it, the stars were like I cut through a star, if that makes sense. So I just want to be careful about placement here. So looking at this, I could probably cut in this area and be okay with that. So I kind of learned from the last time. So the beauty of this is it actually has lines in the back, so you can cut straight using the lines on the vinyl. So I am a big fan of that. Okay, all right, so put that aside. Now I'm going to put a towel down just because it's easier to keep the bottle, because it's round, keep it from rolling. All right, so let's see how we're doing here. And if you notice, I'm not doing stars where the bottle kind of curves there. That's deliberate. I don't want to have to worry about that. So I cut it a little bit big on purpose so that I could probably cut it there. All right, so I'm going to cut it right around here. Again, I'm going to cut it a little bit big, just rather have it a little big than too small. That actually happened when I did the last one. I cut it a little bit too small, and then I had to piece together. The thing about that is, if you're doing the stars, like I said, with these, you could take like painter's tape and just use painter's tape and not worry about the armor etch going underneath it. I'm just going to cut this down one more. Wow. Okay. Let's see where we're at. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, so now the tricky part is getting the vinyl off so that you are able to get the... Now remember, the color of the vinyl doesn't matter here because it's just a stencil, basically. So I'm just going to cut that. I just want to be really careful. It's easy to tear this, so you do want to be careful with it so that you're not causing the armor etch places to go underneath it. I'll show you on the example in a moment. All right, so and it doesn't have to be perfect. That's the beauty of this, because we're just using it as a stencil. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to, in fact, I've got it a little bit crooked here, but oops, see what I mean about this tearing? So I want to be careful. Pull this in. I'll have to be really careful with that when I adhere this down so that the armor edge doesn't go underneath that. That happened on the other one. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a moment. It's fixable, so don't worry about that. Like I said, it's not even, but that's okay because this doesn't matter. We're just covering it. I just want to make sure this star is fully uncovered. And I am going to adhere this down much more carefully. A moment. Okay. So now we're going to take our, this is my Cricut tool, but you could use anything like a credit card or anything to adhere this down. Now this is where it tore. I'm going to take a couple of pieces of the vinyl and I'm going to adhere it to that so that it doesn't, the armor etch doesn't go underneath it, because that will create a funky looking star. And I say that because it happened on the other one. We got a little bit of a funky star, and it happens. You know, you can do the very best possible trying to get that down, and sometimes it does go underneath. So again, I'm just covering that so we don't have. Let me show you what I'm talking about. There's see right here, I don't know if you can see that. Some of the armor etch got underneath right here. You see that? And so the star does look a little bit funky there, I'm not gonna lie. All right, so let me fix this one and we will adhere this down completely. Alright, we're now at the sink. So I've cleaned up my area, make sure that we don't have any food related items. This is a sponge that I'm using for cleanup for this, so it is not related to food. So I'm going to open my Armor Etch, and I found it easiest to hold the bottle kind of like this, and you're going to take the Armor Etch and you're going to coat the areas that you want covered. So you want to make sure that the whole area is covered, that you're not seeing anything underneath. Be careful about pushing it underneath the stencil though, or in this case, the sticker, because that will give you an undesired effect. I'm telling you. And you're going to do this for all of the stars. I'm going to move this right here, easier for you to see. And this does not take long to set up. It takes about 5 minutes, and you can see it's got some sorry, I just hit my camera. I got some consistency to it, so it doesn't like really drip. It does. If I will stand the bottle up when I'm done here, and it does drip a little bit, but it's not very drippy. If that makes any sense. I've been doing this, golly, I was a teenager when I started doing these. And you can do the glass etching on like drinking glasses. That would be beautiful. You can make candle holders. You can buy inexpensive glasses, at a dollar store or something like that, or, discount store. And you could etch glasses for opening night, for a cast party, something like that. That would be amazing. What a great gift that would be for a friend, for a show opening. And if you notice, I'm just kind of like pouncing. I'm not pushing it in to like underneath the sticker. I'm just kind of pouncing it to make sure that it's completely covered. And like I said, this does not take long. This is the last star. And, oh, I have one more after this, actually. Once this is all on there, it's going to take about 5 minutes for it to etch. You could leave it on a little bit longer, but I found 5 minutes is what I did for the other one, and that gave me a really great look. So what I will do, if you notice, I'm wearing the gloves. I forgot to mention that. It's important that you're wearing gloves because this is a chemical, so you want to be very, very careful. Okay, so there we go. So like I said, I'm going to leave this right here for 5 minutes. Leave it right in the sink there, and we'll come back and I will show you how to take off the Armor Etch. 5 minutes. It's been about 2 minutes, and I just wanted to come back on and show you. It is dripping a little bit, and I have been kind of cleaning it up just a smidge, and that's mostly so that it doesn't go down and etch the bottom here. Now I'm not sure if it's because I did glop it on quite a bit, but it's also very, very humid out today, and so I'm not sure if that's affecting the way it is kind of adhering. So you just want to make sure that it's not coming completely off the stencil. So just keep that in mind. Okay, but I just wanted to point that out to you. All right, so it has been about 5 minutes, and I'm going to start washing the Armor Etch off. So I'm going to turn the water on. Sorry if that's too loud for you. And take the brush and just wipe that down. And try to be careful not to push the Armor Etch off of the you know, underneath the sticker. I'm trying to do from the top to the bottom. There we go. It's hard to tell at this point. We'll see in a moment. So here is the moment of truth here. So as I said, I used the the Cricut paper, but you could use contact paper. It doesn't even have to be clear. It could be whatever you have in your stash. So I don't know if you can see the star there. This can be a little bit persnickety to get off, I found, but it's a lot easier if you have the removable rather than the permanent. So this is certainly easier than it would be if we had used permanent. So keep that in mind when you are choosing your materials for, oops, sorry, I just hit the camera, sorry. Choosing your materials for your stickers. It's so sticky. Oh, look at that. That came out great. Can you see that on camera? Came out really good. Just love the look of it. You could do, you know, I chose to do stars, but you could do, you know, comedy tragedy masks. You could do someone's name. You could do the name of the show. You could do the logo from your show. Whatever, you know, you're inspired by would be amazing. And I mean, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be a bottle. I chose bottles, but it could be a glass, it could be a pickle jar, it could be anything. Oh, now I see here, a little bit got underneath, a little bit of the etching cream got underneath here. So it did kind of make a little blip on the end of that star. But once you add all the details, it's not going to really be as noticeable. There we go. I'm going to bring it back to the sink and I'm going to wash it just to make sure everything is off, and I will be right back. Okay, everything's washed off, and I love this. You can see the stars there. They're subtle, but they are really, I just think they really are so special. You know, you could even take an alcohol ink if you wanted them to pop a little bit more and add color to the areas that you have etched. I've seen people do that too, but in this particular case, I really wanted to do this kind of as a neutral. So the next part is taking our ribbon. And so I'm going to use 2 different colors ribbon today, and I'm going to wrap them at the same time. So, you know, I left a little tail there and literally just start wrapping around. I did 2 colors because I thought it just added some nice kind of dimension to it. But you can do whatever suits your aesthetic. So I'm crisscrossing it too. I found that crisscrossing it just added again some nice kind of visual interest. Keeps twisting, so that's why I keep twisting it. I could cut a long piece, but it's whatever works for you. All right, so I'm going to cut that. Now I'm going to put that down, and I'm going to tie these together. It's just to anchor it. And I tied them into a knot so that it wouldn't go anywhere. Now you could also add a little bit of glue there if you were worried about it. All right. So now, as I said, I wanted to add some beads. So I found that the ribbon is too thick for the beads to go in, so I found that it was easier to do it this way. So, you know, it depends on the size of beads you have. If you have beads with large holes in them, like for example, I have these beads here. These were in my stash. You could certainly use those too. I wanted to use beads that were from, in this particular case, they're from sheet music. And like I said, I made these in a previous video, and I'm happy to, I'll link that so that you can see that video if you're interested in learning how to make those beads. All right, so I have jewelry, it's not wire, it's like elastic here. And I'm just gonna cut a piece of that off. And I'm gonna tie this around the bottle too, so that we don't lose it. Now I'm just kind of hiding it underneath the other knot. I'll make a bow there in a little bit. All right, so just to get that in there. Now, like I said, it's a little tricky. These holes are a little bit bigger than on the other one, but what you want to do is you want to take your needle. So see that it's quite a small eye for the needle. You thread that, can you see that? The wire is very thin. You thread that through, and then you take the thread, or in this case the elastic, and you push it through that wire. You see that? And then you're going to pull it through the eye, and that makes it easier because there's no way you'd get that elastic through the eye, so it makes it a lot easier for you to do it that way. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to thread this, oops, get in there, thread the bead, come on, go through, so we'll go through, there we go. Okay, and then I'm going to actually take, because I've got pink on this, I'm going to take a pink bead, see how does that, why not, and then take another one and push that through. Okay, and it's twisting. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to tie a knot. You know what? I'm going to tie a knot, and this is a much bigger hole, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to do it a little bit differently to make it a little bit more secure. Get that through. Prematurely took that out, so I'm going to pull that through again. So in order to make this a little bit more secure, I'm actually going to pull it up through. I could pull it through one of these. I don't know if you can see. There are different ways you can do this. You can pull it. See, I have on the bead. I'll show you one of these. There is a kind of a lattice kind of look. I'm going to put it through that so that I can then tie it off, and it won't come undone as easily. I just want to knot that in. So I'm putting it through the hole, and then I'm putting the needle back through the hole so I can make a little bit of a knot. I did not say that very clearly, I'm sorry. So I'm going to put the needle in through. I'm going to create the hole there and put the needle back through the hole. That way it should be nice and tight. And now I can cut it off. There we go. All right, I'm going to do the same thing for the other one, and I'll be back. So I have done the beads on the other side, and I tied a bow in the pink and white beads that ribbon that I have there. So now all it is just threading the wires or the lights through. So this comes all bundled up. So basically, I'm going to, and this is, like I said, it's wire. For this particular one that I purchased, it's wire, and you need to take the tab out, which is why it didn't go on earlier. So I always test them to make sure, and they work beautifully. And so because it's wire, it can be a little bit finicky to try to get into the bottle. So I'll start it, and I'll show you. It's a little hard to do it laying down, but so I'm going to show you basically. You can see getting the, push it right in there, and as you get more and more, it does get a little bit trickier to get in. Like I said, it's wire, so it can be get caught up on itself a little bit. You can see how it kind of curls up on itself in the bottle, which I love. Just love the look of it. And if you're struggling, that's where I pulled you can pull anything like a knitting needle or something. I happen to have a chopstick, kind of a funky chopstick, so I pulled that to help me weave it down in there if I struggle. I did the other one's a little bit taller than this one, and these were bottles that I had. It was a special event, and oops, my finger got in there. And I just loved the bottles. I loved the shape of them, and so certainly you can use anything that is of sentimental value to you, and then transform it so that you can enjoy it on a daily basis, which I think is pretty special. So here's it's a Star Wars chopstick. It's so silly. There we go, pushing it down. Knitting needle would work. Anything that's long that will go in there. Okay, here we go. The end, woo! And there you go. And now, moment of truth. There it is. How beautiful is that? I love this. Let me put this out of the way a little bit for you. And then we've got this one here. I love them. I hope you enjoyed this and, are able to transform something that you have and make it a special decoration in your space. So thank you for joining me for this week's version of Theater Crafts. I will see you next week. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.